The Herdmans were the worst kids in the whole history of the world. They lied, they stole, they smoked cigars, even the girls. They talked dirty and cussed their teachers, took the name of the Lord in vain, and set fire to Fred Shoemaker's old broken-down tool house. There were 6 of them: Ralph, Imogene, Leroy, Claude, Molly, and Gladys. I was always in the same grade as Imogene Herdman, and what I did was stay out of her way. You couldn't do it if you were very pretty or very ugly, very smart or very dumb, or had anything unusual about you, like red hair or double-jointed thumbs. But if you were a medium kid like me, kept your mouth shut, you did okay. Nobody knew what happened to Mr. Herdman. They say he got on a train long ago and disappeared. With kids like those, no one really blamed him. Mrs. Herdman worked double shifts at the shoe factory and wasn't home much, so the Herdmans pretty much looked after themselves, going through town like they went through school, stealing things, tearing things up, and whamming kids, so it was hard to get away from them. There was only one safe place.
Sweet hour of prayer, because there are no Herdmans there. And Jesus loves us, as they say, because he keeps them miles away.
That's my little brother Charlie, and that's what he said when the Sunday school teacher asked him what his favorite thing about church was. Charlie said, "No Herdmans." That made the teacher mad because all the other kids said nice things about God, Jesus, and good feelings, but old Charlie told the real truth, the truth that everyone else was thinking but was too afraid to say out loud. No Herdmans. No Herdmans, that is, until the fateful day when Charlie told Leroy he could go ahead and have all the dessert he stole out of Charlie's lunch bag, because he got all the dessert he wanted in Sunday school from the pastor: chocolate cake, ice cream, cookies. Well, that's the wrong thing to tell the Herdmans. Sure enough, they were there the very next week in Sunday school, just in time to hear about the church's annual Christmas pageant. Now, our pageant isn't what you'd call 4-star entertainment. Mrs. Armstrong, who liked to run everything, had been directing it as long as anyone could remember. It was always the same old Christmas story, the same old carols, the same old Mary and Joseph. But this year, Mrs. Armstrong broke her leg, and that's how our mother got stuck with it.
Welcome, everybody. Come on in and have a seat. We'll get started in just a minute.
What'd you do that for? What are you even doing here anyways?
Leroy said there's snacks. Where are they?
I don't know.
What's a pageant?
It's a play.
What's it about?
It's about Jesus.
Everything here is.
And it's about Mary. Mostly it's about Mary.
Who's Mary?
I am. Well, I probably am. Miss Armstrong always gives me the part. She says I'm perfect for it.
All right. Well, we are going to get started on picking out the main roles for our Christmas pageant today. And as long as we all just settle down and get focused, it shouldn't take very long. We're going to have our first rehearsal as well. So let's see, our main roles. You're probably wondering why Mrs. Armstrong isn't here. Unfortunately, she broke her leg. So I volunteered to take the part. She wanted me to tell you, let's see, no matter what part you get, there are no small parts, only small actors. Isn't that what Mrs. Armstrong always says?
Yes, that is what she always says, but she never says what it means.
You don't know what it means?
I know what it means. It means the short kids have to be in the front row, or else no one can see them.
Well, actually, it means that all the parts are just as important, from the smallest baby angel all the way up to Mary.
I don't think anyone is as important as Mary.
Well, naturally, that's what you think, Alex, but I think this is more important.
I still think it means the short kids have to be in the front.
Okay, enough. Everyone's just as important, Mary, Jesus, and the short kids. All right. Now, before we get started picking our roles, is everybody here?
1 minute.
Hey, Leroy and the rest of you, stop messing around and get in here. We're doing the play.
Oh, okay. Come on in. Welcome. Sure. Yep. There's plenty of room. Go ahead and find a seat somewhere. Welcome. Just make room for the Herdmans, everybody, buddy. Oh, wow. What a day for you to come. Good to see you. All right. Well, where were we? Shepherds, boys, if you don't have a main role, you'll be a shepherd. Remind your dads you'll need a bathrobe. Girls, you'll be angels, so you'll need to borrow bed sheets from your mothers. let's see, rehearsals will be the next 2 Sundays after church. You need to be at every rehearsal.
What if we get sick?
Don't get sick. Of course, Mary and Joseph absolutely need to be at every rehearsal.
What if they get sick?
They're not gonna get sick, Elmer. Okay, let's start with Mary. We all know what kind of person Mary was. She was sweet and gentle and kind, and whoever plays Mary should try to be that kind of person. So, who would like to be Mary this year? Alice? Okay, no, Imogene, do you have a question?
No, I would like to be Mary, and Joe wants to be, and he wants to be Joe.
Yep.
Okay. Well, how about if we make a list of everyone who wants these parts, and then we'll just decide after that. Ralph Herdman is one volunteer for Joseph. Who else would like to be Joseph? Anyone? Elmer, don't you want to be Joseph this year?
No.
Okay. Any of you shepherds? Hobie? Charlie? David? No? Okay. Well, now Imogene has volunteered to be Mary. Would anyone else like to be Mary?
I'll be Mary.
Shut up, Molly. I'm Mary. You can be a wise man.
Well, the wise men are usually boys, but I guess they
Good,
don't.
I'll be wise man.
Me too. Hey, Todd, you want to be wise man? Raise your hand.
What's a wise
I
man?
don't know. Some kind of king or something. Raise your hand.
What's that mean to me?
Some angel, I think.
I'll be that. What is it?
It's the angel of the Lord who brings the good news to the shepherds. Oh, good. Finally, some volunteers. Yes, Hobie, would you like to be a wise man or Joseph or?
Nah, I just want to say I can't be a shepherd. We're going to Philadelphia.
You're going to Philadelphia? Why didn't you say so before?
I just remembered.
Oh, okay then. You can't be a shepherd. Why not?
My mother said just don't be a shepherd.
Your mom? What? What's your problem?
I can't be a shepherd. I might have my appendix removed, or maybe it will be my tonsils.
Your appendix or your tonsils?
Well, I can't be a shepherd.
Why not? Yes, you are. What's the matter with all of you?
I ain't being a shepherd either. Gladys Herdman hits too hard.
What? Gladys isn't going to hit anybody. The angel of the Lord just brings the good news to the shepherds.
And hits them.
Elmer, that's ridiculous, and I don't want to hear another word about it. No shepherds may quit or get sick, understand? Or have their tonsils out. Now, we're going to start our first rehearsal, so we'll pretend like the inn is here, obviously the stable's here, and then the shepherds will be over there.
Where'd all the shepherds come from anyway?
What's an inn?
An inn is like a motel where we're gonna spend the night.
What people? Jesus?
Oh, honestly, Jesus wasn't even born yet. Mary and Joseph went there.
Why?
To pay their taxes.
In a motel?
Shut up, everybody. Just shut up. I want to hear her. Start from the beginning.
In Genesis?
Oh, this is gonna take forever.
Okay, the beginning of what, Imogene?
The play. What starts first?
Imogene, this is the Christmas story from the Bible. Haven't you ever heard the Christmas story from the Bible? Okay, well that's what this play is all about, so I guess I better find it and read it to you. Let me see, where's my Bible?
I can't believe that, can you? That they've never heard the Christmas story?
Why not? They don't even know what a Bible is, and they never went to church in their entire life. They wouldn't have been here if your dumb brother wouldn't have told them we got refreshments. Now we have to waste all our time for nothing.
All right, let's see, Luke 2. And it came to pass that a decree went out from Caesar that all the world should be taxed, and all went to be taxed, each to his own town. And Joseph also went up to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, with his wife Mary, who was great with child.
What's great with child?
It's pregnant, dumbbell.
Okay, everyone, we all know Mary was pregnant. Yes, Alice.
I don't think it's very nice to say Mary was pregnant. It's much better to say great with child. I'm not supposed to be talking about people being pregnant, especially in church.
Thank you, Alice. And while they were there, Mary gave birth to her firstborn son and wrapped him in swaddling clothes and laid him in a manger because there was no place for them in the inn.
They didn't have room for Jesus in the inn?
Well, nobody knew the baby was going to be Jesus.
Didn't Mary know? Didn't he know? What was wrong with him that they didn't tell him? Her being pregnant and everything. Couldn't he tell?
I suppose he probably could,
What's a
but...
major's kind of bed?
Well, they didn't have a bed in a barn, so they had to use whatever they had. What would you do if you had a new baby and no bed to put it in?
Well, I mean, we put Gladys in a dresser drawer.
Well, there you go. You had a new baby, no place to put it, so you had to use something else.
No, we had a bed. Only Leroy was still in it. He didn't want to get out. He didn't like Gladys. Remember how you didn't like Gladys?
Yeah, I still don't.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, a manger is like a feed box for animals, kind of like where they eat. So they didn't have any other room for them, so that's where they had to stay. That's where they had to put Jesus. And do you know what swaddling cloths are? I didn't think so. So back then, people used to wrap their babies tightly in white strips of cloth to make them warm and make them feel cozy.
So you mean they tied him up and put him in a feed box? Where was CPS?
CPS at house every 5 minutes.
There wasn't any CPS in Bethlehem.
I'll say.
And there were shepherds in the fields, keeping watch over their flocks by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them, and the glory of the Lord... Gladys, what in the world?
Out of the black night, the tall mountains, the mighty marvel.
Gladys, what are you talking about?
The mighty marvel is amazing comments about the black night and horrible vengeance.
Gladys, this is the angel of the Lord who brings the good news to the shepherds.
Out of nowhere, right? In the black night, right?
Well, I suppose.
Out of the black night, and horrible vengeance, Shazam!
And when Jesus was born, there were also wise men who came to bring him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
What's that?
They were like special things like oils and spices.
Oil? What kind of present is oil?
Who are the wise men anyway?
They were kings, and they were sent by
Kings? Finally somebody important. They can get the baby out of the barn and tell the innkeeper to go to hell.
How about we get back to the story? What I was going to say was the wise men were kind of like kings, but they were sent by Herod, who was, I guess, the main king, and he actually wanted to have the baby Jesus put to death.
To death? He's a baby and they're trying to kill him already?
Who's Herod in this play anyway?
Herod isn't in our play.
That killed a baby and he isn't even in the play?
Well, somebody better be Herod. Let Charlie be Herod. And he says, go get me that baby. And they say, okay, because he's a king and all.
Okay, nobody's gonna be Herod.
But then they don't do it. They just go back and get Herod. I'm not gonna be Herod.
No one's going to be Herod.
No, Joseph gets the shepherds together and they go wipe out Herod. See, they're gonna kill someone. It's gonna be me.
No, forget about Herod. There's no Herod.
Well, I wouldn't wait around. I would get out of that barn.
Well, somebody ought to fix the innkeeper. Gladys, you wipe out the innkeeper.
I can't. I'm an angel.
Put him down. Put him down.
Well,
Okay. Well, can we please get back to the...
Well, I'd get a room.
She said there wasn't any room.
Well, I'd throw somebody out. I'd tell them it's the middle of December and I've got this baby and you either get out or move over.
Okay. Well, with all these creative rewrites, we're gonna need a new name for this play, I think.
What's the name of this play? She never said. The Christmas Pageant. No, that's just what it is. I know a name! I'd call it Revenge to Bethlehem.
And that concludes our first rehearsal. How about if we look over our scripts and we'll try again next Sunday? Be back here, please, next Sunday. Okay. Goodbye, everyone. I need an aspirin.
Why didn't you volunteer to be Joseph, Elmer?
Because I've been stuck as Joseph for the last 5 years. Last year I tried to pay Hobie to do it, but he wouldn't do it for $5. That's what I get for being the minister's son. Why don't you volunteer to be Mary, Alice?
I don't dare raise my hand. Imogene would have killed me, she said. And I'm going to be Mary in this play, and if you open your mouth or raise your hand, you'll be sorry. I'm sure she would have found a really awful way to make you sorry too. Herdmans will do anything.
So there was my mother, stuck in a Christmas pageant full of herdmans in the main roles. Revenge at Bethlehem. The herdmans thought the Christmas story came right out of FBI files. At least they picked the right villain. It was Herod they wanted to gang up on, not the baby Jesus. Well, needless to say, word about the herdmans being in the Christmas pageant spread through the church like wildfire.
Emma, did you hear what happened to the pageant? My poor Alice just told me, and I couldn't believe my ears.
You mean about the herdman's
Gladys.
In it, they took over the whole pageant. They ought to be in jail. I'll tell you this right now. I live next door to that outfit, and it's like living next door to a zoo. The very thought of Imogene Herdman being the mother of Mary, mother of Jesus, when it was supposed to be my sweet Alice, what kind of child is that to be the mother of Jesus?
What I'd like to know is who let them in here in the first place. Where was Pastor Hopkins anyway?
Oh, probably visiting the sick or something. He always quotes the verse, "Suffer the little children."
Well, when Jesus said that, I'm sure he didn't mean the herdmans. But I'll tell you this. I was going to volunteer my precious grandson Eugene to be the baby Jesus this year. He would have just been perfect. But there's no parent alive who let Imogene Herdman get her grimy hands on their baby.
This is all Grace's fault. She's too much of a pushover. She should have just sent them home, told them to go away, or at the most, told them to pass out programs or something. Mrs. Armstrong would have never allowed a travesty like this. Oh, what Miss Armstrong say?
Well, maybe I'll have to pay her a little visit in the hospital and find out.
You do that. She deserves to know, the poor dear. Who knows? Maybe the herdmans forget all about the pageant. But until then, we better lock up those collection plates before they clean them out.
You are kidding. Those children are a real menace. Well, I'm gonna head up to the hospital now. I'll see you later, dear.
Okay, I have a few more phone calls to make. Bye, Erna.
When Mrs. Slocum visited Mrs. Armstrong in the hospital and told her what was happening, she nearly fell out of her bed, cast and all. She said if it had been up to her, the whole thing never would have happened, and that made my mother so mad she couldn't see straight.
And then she said if she would have been up and around, this whole thing never would have happened. Oh, that woman, she probably is surprised that the sun can come up every morning without her there to supervise. Well, Mrs. Armstrong's not the only person in this world who can run a Christmas pageant, Bob. I'll tell you what, I was gonna do my best before and just make the best of it and get through it, but now, I'm gonna make this the best Christmas pageant ever.
You know what? I believe you, Grace. In fact, I'll even help.
You'll help? Oh, thank you, honey. I can use all the help I can get.
I'll donate my bathrobe.
You'll donate your bathrobe? You were gonna have to do that anyway.
I'll do it willingly now.
Thanks, Bob. Thanks a lot. So helpful. Thank you.
As you can imagine, the second rehearsal did not go much better than the first. At least when rehearsal started, everybody shut up right away for fear of missing something awful the herdmans might do. Alice was still mad about not being Mary, so she decided to write down everything that happened in a little notebook so she could report it all to her mother. She had a lot to write down too. Leroy knuckled Charlie behind the ear, and one little girl yelled as Gladys went by. But Mother said she was gonna ignore everything but blood, and since the little girl wasn't bleeding, and neither was Charlie, we just moved on. And with all the interruptions, we were never able to get all the way through the play. So Mother was really hoping to have a good dress rehearsal before the performance.
All right. Let's get started. Come on in, everybody. Here. Shepherds, why don't you go ahead and sit over there? Okay, go ahead and sit down. Thank you. Angels, yes, go ahead and we'll stand on the risers right now. What is this? In just a minute, sweetheart. Can you sit down, please? Thank you. Okay, come on to the risers. Little ones in the front. We'll put the taller ones in the back. Whew, we really need to have a good dress rehearsal. Mary and Joseph, you go here in the on either side. And Gladys, you just stand there for now. Wise men, you'll be right here, kind of in the front, because you're going to come down the main aisle. Okay, you guys, this is supposed to be a dress rehearsal. Only half of us are in costume. Where's all our costumes?
Damn it, stole my robe. No, I didn't. This is my robe. I don't have any idea where mine is.
I can find my halo. My mom doesn't have any white bed sheets. Can I wear a sheet with unicorns on it?
We'll figure that out later. Shepherds, where are your costumes?
I haven't got a costume. I've never been a shepherd before.
Well, where are your father's bathrooms?
He hasn't got a bathroom.
And what does he hang around the house?
His underwear.
Okay, Toby, overshare. Thank you. Herdmans, do you not have any robes or sheet? Never mind. We'll find something for you to wear and to borrow. Okay. Let's just pretend like we're in costume and we're gonna try to get through this. Before we begin, let's go over our cues so we remember when to come in. So Maxine, could you just read the last few lines?
Shepherds keeping watch over their flocks by night.
Okay, shepherds, that's your cue. Keep going, Maxine.
And an angel of the Lord appeared to them.
Shazam!
No, Gladys! No. Stay there. Okay, keep going, Maxine.
A multitude of the heavenly host.
Okay, angels, you'll sing, and then wise men, then you'll come up the main aisle right toward the stable, okay, with your gift.
I've got the baby right here. Don't touch him. I named him Jesus.
No, Mary doesn't sing.
Hey, he's my baby too.
Give me my baby back.
No, Mary and Joseph don't say anything. Mary and Joseph paint a beautiful picture for us to look at while we think about the Christmas story. Now put the baby back!
It's not fair. I don't get to say anything. Some angel even tells me what to name my own baby.
Well, I'm sorry, but...
What did the angel do exactly? Just walk up and say, name him Jesus? I would have named him Bill.
What a terrible thing to say.
What angel was that? Was that Gladys?
Hey, unusual boy!
Unto me, not them, me. I'm the one who had the baby.
That just means that Jesus was born for everyone. Unto all of us a child is born.
Why wouldn't they let Mary name her own baby?
Well, I guess the angel just said, name him Jesus.
I know what the angel said. She said his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
Okay, well then.
My Lord, he would never get out of the first grade if he had to write all that.
Okay, wow, let's see if we can get back on track. Does any, what? What do you need?
I'll go to the bathroom.
You have to go to the, we just got started. No, wait, we just got started.
No!
Hey, no, not the baby. Jesus, come back, you guys. What in the world? It's okay, sweetheart. Maxine, I guess we'll just take a break. Okay, well, we'll figure that out backstage, darling. Maxine, we're just gonna take a 5-minute break, okay? And we'll get started after that. Everybody get a drink of water, go to the bathroom, and we'll get started after that.
That's steep.
Hello.
We never did start over, and we never did go through the whole thing. The 5 minutes turned into 15 minutes, and Imogene went into the ladies' room and started smoking cigars. And Mrs. Slocum smelled the smoke and called the fire department. And they cleared everyone out of the building and dragged the fire hose through the church looking for the fire to put out. But the only fire they found was in the kitchen because Mrs. Slocum forgot her applesauce cake, and it was all burned up.
Honestly, Irma, didn't you know that it was only a little smoke? Did you have to call the fire department over a little bit of smoke?
It was a lot of smoke. The ladies' room was full of thick smoke.
Well, it couldn't have been. You just got excited. And now look, the church is filled with firemen. There's shepherds climbing all over the fire trucks and baby angels crying in the streets and half the neighborhood. Didn't you know it was cigar smoke?
How does she know it's cigar smoke? No one would expect to find cigar smoke in the ladies' room, but smoking a cigar is one of our least of our problems with the Herdmans.
Oh, here we go.
I've heard from my Alice, all they talk about is pregnancy and underwear.
For heaven's sakes, Vera, Mary was pregnant.
I don't think it's proper to talk about pregnancy and underwear with children, especially in a church. I think it'd be much more respectful to say graped with child.
And it was Hobie talking about underwear, not the Herdmans.
Well, I'm very curious to hear what Pastor Hopkins has to say all about this.
I talked to Pastor Hopkins, and he said we should welcome the Herdmans because Jesus said, suffer the little children.
Well, I don't think he anticipated how much suffering would be involved.
Neither did I.
Honestly, Grace, nobody's going to come to your pageant. You should just call the whole thing off.
You know what, Vera? Maybe you're right. Maybe nobody will show up. Maybe it will be the worst Christmas pageant ever. But I'm not going to give up on this pageant, no matter what, Herdmans and all. No thanks to you and your applesauce cake. Now, good evening, ladies. I need to go round up some baby angels and find their parents.
Good evening, Grace. Even though she acted confident, Mother was having her doubts too. After that last rehearsal, she started to think that maybe this would be the year that the wise men and Joseph got in a fist fight, the angel of the Lord attacked the shepherds, and Mary ran off with the baby. She started to hope that maybe no one would come just in case. But Mrs. Slocum, Mrs. Wendelkin, and my mother were all wrong. Everyone came to the pageant just to see what the Herdmans would do.
In the days of Caesar Augustus, a decree went out that all the roads should be taxed, and Joseph went into Bethlehem with Mary, his wife, who was great with child. And while they were there, she bought her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no more room in the inn.
Look at them. Aren't they awful? And what's she doing with the baby? I don't think it's very nice to burp the baby as if he had a colic.
He could have had colic, just like any other baby.
I don't care. It looks awful, and they look awful too.
They came a long way, and they had no place to stay, and they had a new baby.
Who? Ralph and Imogene?
No, Mary and Joseph.
In that region, there were shepherds in the field, keeping watch over their flocks by night. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them. And an angel of the Lord appeared to them. The glory of God, the glory of the Lord shone around about, and they were so afraid when the angel of the Lord appeared to them.
Hey, that little child's gone. He's in the flood. Go see him.
When Jesus was born, there came wise men from the east to worship him, bringing gifts in gold, frankincense, and myrrh.
And they look awful too. And what's that Leroy's got?
I think it's a ham.
A ham? I bet they stole it.
I think it's from their charity basket.
They must hate ham.
Well, even if they hate ham, Alice, it's the only thing they've ever given away in their whole lives.
We kings of Orient are, bearing gifts we travel so far. Fields and clouds and more and melting, following yonder star. Oh, star of wonder, star of light, star of glory, beauty and light. Westward leading, still proceeding, guide us to thy perfect light.
Being warned in a dream that they should not return to Herod, the wise men returned to their own country by another way. The shepherds also departed, praising God for all they had seen and heard. But Mary kept all these things and pondered them to her heart.
Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace.
Instead of ruining the whole pageant, it seemed to me like the Herdmans had improved it a lot by doing what came naturally to them, like burping a baby, for instance, or thinking a ham would make a better present than a lot of perfumed oil. I almost wish the pageant would go on with the Herdmans in charge, just to see what they would do that was different. Maybe the wise men would go tell Mary about their problems with Herod, and then she would go tell them to go back and lie their heads off. Or maybe Joseph would go back with them and give Herod a beating. And when I saw Imogene Herdman crying, I couldn't believe my eyes. She just sat there, awful old Imogene, in her cockeyed veil, crying and crying. I guess Christmas came over her all at once, like a case of the chills and fevers. And so she was crying. And when it was all over, people stood around the lobby of the church talking about it for a long time. There was something special, they said, but they just couldn't put their finger on what it was. But everyone agreed that it was the best Christmas pageant that we ever had. Now, when I think of the Christmas story, Mary is always going to look a lot like Imogene Herdman, sort of nervous and bewildered, but ready to clobber anyone who lays a hand on her baby. And the wise men are always going to look like Molly and her brothers bearing ham. And the angel of the Lord is always going to look like Gladys with her skinny legs and dirty sneakers sticking out from under her robe, yelling at all of us everywhere,
Hey, I'm the entire point! Sit down!
All right. Well, wasn't that fantastic? Hey, just for 1 minute before you guys all leave, just helped me appreciate not only the cast, but also people who poured so much into this play. Nicole and Elizabeth helped out in so many ways, co-directing it, and then also want to give a huge shout out to Beth, who not only acted in it, but rewrote it, all the script for it. I am not exaggerating when I say she put in like probably 50 plus hours into making this happen. So would you help appreciate Beth? Come on up here, sweetie. Thanks. Hey, great job, everybody. Hey, as we head out to Christmas, just want to leave you with this. May the God of all hope fill you with all joy and peace as you put your hope fully in Him. Have a Merry Christmas.